Hello and welcome to your DC area real estate market report from March of 2024. I'm Edward Slavis with the Slavis Group of LPT Realty, and let us begin as always with interest rates. Interest rates are down now to 6.82% on a 30-year fixed. As always, our clients are seeing better than this, more of like 6.25, 6.5. We did have one client that got 6.0 with no points, which we were very, very happy to see. A lot of it, of course, depends upon your credits and amount you're putting down, etc. If you're curious about what you qualify for, let us know. We're happy to introduce you to one of our preferred lenders. But that said, this is slowly trending down for the interest rates. We want to see this get lower and lower. The Fed recently announced that they expect 2 rate cuts this year, so that is a good sign. But at the very least, it looks like rates are slowly trending down, which of course helps buyers and really helps sellers as well. There have been a few predictions with the impact of Doge and all these government cuts. And it's the most common question we get is, kind of how's the market with respect to all of these cuts? And the answer is that anecdotally, we can tell you the impact it's had on certain buyers that maybe lost their job or certain sellers that lost their job. But it's all anecdotal. The question is, what are we actually seeing in the data? Because obviously DC is a very large, in a very wealthy metropolitan area. And there are a few predictions, one of which is we would see a lot of new listings from sellers that maybe lost their jobs and had to sell. And we're not seeing that at all. This first chart shows all the new listings in the DC metro area for all home types, condos, detached homes, row homes, everything. And February of 2025 saw 2% fewer listings than February of 2022. January saw 4% fewer listings than January of 2024. So, the year prior, year over year, it's actually down. Now, if we had seen a 10% increase, I still wouldn't have been that alarmed because January and February of 2024 were actually very, very slow months. And if you look at year over year, we had several years of decreasing year over year listings in terms of the number of new listings hitting the market. Not those that went under contract and sold, but just new homes hitting the market. We were, at years-long lows here. And right now, the last several months, it's been flat, basically even with last year. But again, that was a slow year. So we have not started seeing a great increase in new listings that, the doomsday prophets had predicted. That may change. And if it does, I obviously will report that to you. But as of now, we're seeing no macro impact in the market in terms of new supply, whether people losing their jobs or people rushing to sell for fear of the market falling apart. So this is for, again, the entire DC metro area for all home types. Now, sale prices, this is starting to look familiar, are still slowly climbing up. We've broken this out into detached homes, the red line, blue is all properties, and yellow are condos. And this is that year over year change in price. So as you can see, other than a few months in 2022 and 2023, overall, the median sale price for condos in yellow, detached homes in red, and all home properties in blue, the median sale keeps increasing month after month, year after year. So the home sale prices for those homes that are successfully selling is still climbing. Again, will that change? I will report back to you, but as of now, home sale prices still look good. Price per square foot, same thing. Lines generally trending upwards. Here is the year-over-year change, price per square foot. Same thing. The price per square foot for a few months in December of 2022, March, through Q1, Q2 of 2023. Those were slightly lower. Other than that, year over year has been pretty strong on price per square foot. The number of closed sales, unfortunately, is down. So you can see here 2022 were higher than 23, which is higher than 2024. We'll see what 2025, see what happens. The good news is the number of closed sales was a little bit higher in 2024. I may have misspoke that. Overall, closed sales are really down. 2024 is a little bit higher than 2023. we want to hope that 2025 continues to be higher because, again, as of now, we are going to go and see closed sales basically equal to where they were last year. So which brings us to the second prediction of the second fear of all the Doge cuts and all the uncertainty is number of buyers will drop out. This is a little bit harder to measure. One, you can measure it based on loan applications. When I spoke to the president of our preferred lender, the mortgage company, she said that they are on par February of 2025, when you exclude refinances, the new loan applications for February of 2025 was almost exact to February of 2024. So that's a good sign. That is a leading indicator. The trailing indicator is, of course, closed sales. How many buyers actually go through and complete the sale? And as you can see here, at least last month, it was equal to exactly what it was in 1 year prior. We want to see that, again, continue to stay above that solid black line because it means more homes are selling than the previous year, but we will keep our eye on that. That's certainly too early to tell that buyer impact. Months of supply is also, I think, still showing a strong market. Months of supply is simply a measurement of supply and demand. So how we calculate it, if there are 10 homes and 5 sell per month, you have 2 months of supply. That makes sense. The reason why we use this is if I say that there are 100 new listings, it's meaningless unless I know how many buyers there are. If there are 1,000 buyers for those 100 homes, it's still a massive seller's market. I would love to try and sell in that market. Whereas if there are only 10 buyers, you're looking at a depression, all those homes will go unsold. So we need to know that ratio of the supply and demand to make it more meaningful. The lower the months of supply, the better for sellers. The higher the months of supply, the better for buyers. There's no hard and fast rule, but generally speaking, below 3 months of supply is a seller's market, between 3 and 5 or 6 is a balanced market, and above 5 or 6 is a buyer's market. These are the months of supply for the last 5 years now, and I guess going 4 years back, excuse me. And you can see this is slowly climbing, which makes sense. I will point out, though, that while the highest point here for condos in Q3 of 2024 was still about 2.75 months of supply. So that's still a seller's market. Not a very strong one, but it's still a seller's market. For all homes, for the green line is row homes, the red line is detached homes. Those are all below 2 months of supply, which is a seller's market. Below 1 month of supply is a red hot seller's market. So even with, again, it's the ratio, we have fewer new listings and then we have fewer buyers, but the ratio of those is still showing signs of a good, healthy market. There are times when we do real estate reviews for clients that we'll see the months of supply is 1 or 2 months. It hits March of 2022 when rates started increasing, and it just slowly climbs, in a straight line up to 7 or 8 or even 10 months of supply, for that particular, home in that particular neighborhood. Overall, as a broader DC market, the months of supply is still very, very strong. This is also going back 10 years for that months of supply. So here you look like, wow, it's really climbing because it's doubling from 1 to 2. When you go back 10 years, when you go back 10 years, you can see, I was in business back here in 2014, and we always thought that was a good, strong market, even when there was between 2 and 4 months of supply. The market kept getting hotter and hotter and hotter. Rates kept going lower. All of a sudden, you were looking at 1 month of supply in all of the DC metro area. Rates increased, and now we're climbing back up to the exact months of supply it was in 2019, 2018, 2019. And if I had surveyed buyers and sellers in 2019 and thought, how strong is the real estate market in DC? Of course, everyone, if you were in the market, then you would have known. Everyone thought it was strong. Everyone would say it was strong. So that's where we are. Is it trending in the wrong direction? Yes. But if we just look at the reality of the number of buyers to sellers, it's actually encouraging. I would prefer it to be lower, but it's actually encouraging. This is also showing closed sales for the last 10 years. Give you an idea, the number of closed sales was climbing, interest rates increased, it dropped down, and we're now at a new normal of just fewer total homes selling. There are fewer homes listed as well, but fewer homes selling in DC, the DC metro area. So what does this all mean? Are more homes being listed? No. Are home sales increasing? The prices are climbing up for those homes that successfully sell, but the total number of sales is not increasing, at least not meaningfully. For sellers, again, the prices you're getting now in homes are the highest prices we've ever had in terms of the raw number and the price per square foot. So if you're thinking about selling, just know that if your home is properly prepared for the market and properly marketed, you will go and get your price or higher. You will get the price that you want. And again, based on months of supply throughout the metro area, it is still a seller's market. If you're curious about how to prepare your home, how we would market it, or the months of supply in your particular neighborhood for your home type, say condos versus row home versus detached home, etc., happy to provide that information for you. Just, of course, let us know. And for buyers, we've been saying this now for the last several years, and I still believe this is true. With rates being higher, it's harder to get a deal on the rate. You'll get your deal on the price of the home. You have more leverage, you have more negotiating power. 4 years ago, when rates were below 3%, we would have buyers say to us, I want a good deal. And a lot of times we just had to be honest with them and say, this is a seller's market. It's hard to find something. You're not going to get a deal on price. You're getting a deal because you have 2.75% interest, which is the lowest it's ever been. It will probably never be that low again. Now you're going to pay a higher rate, but you can get a deal on the price. You have more room for negotiations. A lot of the homes are still going unsold, so you have some good leverage. And of course, you can always refinance as time goes through one of our preferred lenders. You can refinance at no upfront cost for 3 years. So we'll monitor interest rates, and as they drop below 6, you can refinance. Below 5.5, you can refinance, etc. at no upfront cost. And that will just continue to lower your monthly payment and lower the total interest paid over the life of that loan. We also offer a buyer satisfaction to buyers. Any questions about that, happy to explain that. And of course, if you have any questions at all about the buying process, we'd love to be a resource for you. Overall, though, while it is still a seller's market, it's the strongest relative buyer's market it's been in about 6 or 7 years. So take advantage of that if you're at all interested. And again, any questions about the buying process, please just let us know. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you found that informative. Again, if you or anyone you know in the DC area has any real estate needs, we'd love to be a resource for you. Thanks for watching, and take care.